Mariners and Blue Jays. The Mariners take game one last night behind some heroics from the big dumper. Hit a home run in that game. Jorge Polanco had the other 2 RBI. But I'll say this, game one lined up really well for Cal Raleigh. He was coming into this game 5 for 12 against Kevin Gausman with 3 home runs. So clearly he had Gausman's number. But Jenks, here's the other thing about Cal Raleigh. He has been absolutely fantastic in games at the Rogers Center. For some reason, he loves Toronto. 9 home runs in 14 career games in Toronto. So I don't know if this trend continues, but I'll say this. The Blue Jays have one of their young guns pitching tonight, Trey Savage, who is 1-0 with a 0 ERA this postseason. He's only 22 years old, but has some wipeout, strikeout stuff. So this is going to be an interesting one. Of course, the Mariners feel like they have the momentum, and, they look like maybe the better hitting team. But the Blue Jays, this postseason, last night was not a great indicator of what their offense had been, because they had been one of the hottest hitting teams in all of baseball this postseason. And they are favored tonight at -140. Seattle +115, total of 7.5 runs. Logan Gilbert goes for Seattle. Jenks, is there anything worth playing in tonight's game?
Ooh, I think I'm going to go with an under here is what I'm going to do. I think that's what I'm going to do. I like the under. So you can get a first 5 under 4 and a hook for -140. I couldn't believe that. I thought this would sit at 3.5. So when you look at Trey Savage, maybe he's the factor here that you worry about, just because, he's a young guy, but his stuff has been unbelievable. We saw him against the Yankees. You know what I mean? That splitter is just nasty. He had those guys confused all game long, and clearly he's not bothered by a playoff atmosphere. I mean, that game was in New York, wasn't it, where he went to Yankee Stadium and pitched in that way? So as crazy as that Rogers Center crowd will be, we saw that last night, I don't think he's going to be intimidated by the atmosphere. And then conversely, when you look at Logan Gilbert, he's pitched 7 straight games where he's given up 2 runs or less. You can get a first 5 under 4 -105. You want to do a first 5 under 4.5, it's -140. I'm going to go there.
Yeah, first 5 under 4 is -102. Very close to even money over at BetMGM. And it just feels to me that I understand that both of these offenses on paper in the regular season were 2 of the best offenses, especially when you're talking about the Mariners. But I don't know, these games feel like they're playing so close to the vest. And we've seen that, throughout the postseason, is that we have seen a lot of unders. I understand the Blue Jays had that hit parade in the last round against the Yankees. But Logan Gilbert has really locked it in the postseason as well. His alter ego, Walt, which he also had no backstory on. I was eager to hear more, but apparently it's somebody who just slices and dices the competition by striking them out. I don't know. I wanted more from that backstory. But I think of the pitching matchups, this is probably one of the best ones we're going to get in this series.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. Every now and then we'll get that number that seems like, during the regular season, we'll get a 4.5 or 5 in what looks to be a great pitching matchup. And you're like, oh, what's going on here? But here, I just feel like it's a bad number, to be honest with you. And also, when you look at these two teams, we saw an under game in game 1, and last night was a night where, I hate to use one game, but last night was a perfect night, at least in theory, for the Blue Jays to step up and hit the ball, because Bryce Miller has not been good this season, ERA over 5, and they went cold. Vladdy Jr. went 0-4. So if those bats have cooled down a little bit, makes me like this first 5 play even more. So, yeah, play it at under 4, make yourself some even money here. I think it's a great play.
I also think that I don't want to fade Trey Savage because he's been really good, but it's wild to me all the things that kind of went in the opposite direction for the Mariners, and they still won game 1. Like, even the fact that they played a 15-inning game, like 48 hours before this game. Remember the way that they had to get to the ALCS is they had to defeat the Tigers in 15 innings. And then they had, a starter going last night, and Bryce Miller, who's not one of their top guys. And they were on the road, and they still won that game. So maybe the urgency doesn't feel like it's quite there as much, and it would be wild if the Mariners keep winning games on the road. But still, it feels like this matchup might be even better for them now that, they get a little sleep, and they have a better starter on the hill.
Yeah, I feel like they sort of stole one last night. Like
Right.
everything's set up for the Jays to win that
Mm-hmm.
game. You got a team that just mashed the ball against the Yankees. And then, I just can't say enough about Bryce Miller. I mean, on a short rest to give arguably his best performance of the postseason. After the game, he said, "Look, I know I've disappointed this year, but I felt great out there, and it was huge to come out and perform well. And I needed that. I know this team needed that, so I wanted to raise my level of play." He did that, and so when you're the Mariners, this was just not a good spot for Seattle to win in game one. So the fact that they got that, I think they carry that momentum into tonight's game. I don't necessarily mind a little sprinkle on the Mariners at plus money. I don't know if I want to lay $140 with the Blue Jays. I think I'd rather lean towards a total. This just seems like a low-scoring game to me.
Yeah, so for the people at home, why would you not play full game total? Why are you going first five here?
Well, that is a good question. I think you can do either one, honestly. I just like to simplify the handicap, right? I think that's what it is for me. So for me, do I think both these guys will go 5 innings? Yeah, I do. There's always a chance one of them could get roughed up. That's just part of the sabotage factor that you deal with in each and every single game. But at least for me, if you want to go full game under, I like that as well. And if you do that, then you're not going to lay the juice. I think that's maybe why you go full game under. I'm going to go first 5 under, 4 and a hook. But either one I think is a good play. I mean, we've sort of seen that throughout playoff baseball anyway. Looking at unders is always a good call, particularly when you're talking about these two starters. It's just personal preference, but I like to keep it simple when it comes to baseball, and I think, at least for me, it's something that's worked.
I think I just have trouble trusting the relievers as much just because it feels like there's more volatility.
Yeah.
And I think this was creeping in the back of my mind as well. If this game goes to extra innings, a lot of these games have been super tight. And, do you really want to go to extra innings sitting on a total of 7.5? That makes me nervous because eventually, it feels like the hitters will have the advantage to where eventually the bullpen's going to be worth it. And a reminder, one of these teams played in a 15-inning game just 2 days ago. So it feels like the Mariners have had to use a lot of bullpen arms and even starters in that game. I think Logan Gilbert pitched in that game as well. So it just feels like they have had a lot of wear and tear on, their bullpen to the point where I don't really want to play a full game. And plus, we can go to bed earlier if we only play the first 5 innings. And then finally, I think if you're into props, Cal Raleigh has been on absolute fire. If you want to play his hits plus runs plus RBI over 1.5, it's -110. Cal Raleigh is hitting 400 for the postseason. Also, I don't know if you've noticed, but he's having a career season. Also, he has great numbers in Toronto. As I mentioned before, 9 home runs in 14 career games at the Rogers Center. So I think that one's worth a look-see as well.